Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about paradoxes of being a software engineer. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, what is the greatest paradox of being a software engineer? And I would say that that's going to be that it's always your fault. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I'll unpack that a little bit. Basically what I mean is that if you have ever wanted to be really appreciated and loved because you're so awesome, or that you just make people happy all the time, then being a software engineer is probably not for you. Uh, Maybe short term, but not long term. The reason why it's so hard to be a nice software developer is because the expectations are on you to always work faster. And that's the thing, you can never be fast enough. It's impossible. You will never be able to produce code fast enough. And you will never be able to make people feel as if you are, well, that you will never be able to just go through your days by saying yes to people and making them happy and so forth. It takes a great deal of social skills or soft skills in order to just manage expectations and not disappoint people and tell them that we need to do this and that and so forth. Or you can ignore all of that and go for the short term gratification, and you can say yes to absolutely everybody and feel like you're super fast and be told that you're super fast and very good at what you do short term. And then when you realize that now, because of all the hacks and all the legacy you have produced, you can no longer maintain development speed. And now you've just delayed the sensation and actually increased the expectations on your performance. You've actually shifted that. It's kind of like getting out of balance. Now you've shifted it too far. Now you need to shift it back, and people are going to be upset with you because there's so many bugs and everything takes much longer than it used to. You see a degradation in delivery speed, and now you can't be the just person anymore. You can't make people happy, and that's the problem. If you they're gonna be unhappy with you if you keep on saying no and saying that no, we can't do it this quickly, we need this amount of time, and they're going to be disappointed because now you can't ship at that on that deadline, or you can't do that extra thing that they really wanted you to do, so they're going to be unhappy with you then. But if you tell them yes, and they will get into a habit, like when the system is so shit that it's basically not maintainable anymore, they're going to be unhappy with you again for the exact same reason, even though they contributed quite a lot to the issue at hand. And that's the paradox for me, at the very least. Like as a software developer, there is no way for you to make people, to consistently make people happy by saying yes. You have to at all times, and this is so hard for so many developers, and I honest to God, I believe that the fatigue that comes with having this pressure on you all the time is the reason why we have so many shitty systems out there in the world. I believe, I really do, that the responsibilities of a software developer to make a system really good is way beyond the coding. You actually need to, in many ways, know people, like other stakeholders, and their jobs as well, in order to know what to do at any given moment. Because otherwise, you don't know if that time your PO really promises you that this is just a temporary solution, if they're actually speaking the truth. Because in that moment, they might actually be speaking the truth. But then a few months later, or a few weeks later, the customer comes in and says they really like this, and now they have this really sharp deadline that a contract is signed on, and now you don't have that promise anymore that you can go back and fix it. So now you have to add more stuff on top, and the PO can just say that, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do anything about it, and the results are still the same. And had you just gone in with the right mindset and understood from the beginning that that was going to happen, you could have maybe fixed it in some fashion. And this is the pressure of being, especially if you're a senior developer. Junior developers, you don't usually have to deal with this because, well, in some cases you do if the stakeholder is like really unreasonable or doesn't know what profile he or she is talking to. But as you get more and more involved, this is what happens, and I can understand why this crushes people into apathy, because it's like if I can only describe it this way. Sometimes it really feels as if you turn a pyramid upside down, and you are the peak at the bottom of that upside down pyramid. Everything stands and falls with you. You have to understand all of these things, all of it, in order to make the right call. Because all the people underneath you or above you have all of this stuff that they just pour down into you, and you are fundamentally the person who is just proxying all of that into code. And you need to know how all of these things fit together in order to make the right decision pretty much all the time. And in many cases you find yourself coaching your managers to make the right decisions, because they don't know how to make the right decision. They know how to make the best decision based on their knowledge, but their knowledge is very limited in the technical area, which is one of the most important areas to consider when you're making all of these decisions. And that is, at least for me, the paradox and probably the most crushing part uh, of being a software developer. So what I want you to take away from this is that, for me, the biggest paradox of being a software engineer is that you will make people unhappy if you do the thing that is right by the system, and you will make people unhappy potentially if you always do the thing that is right by the people, like making them happy short term. And it is your job as a software engineer to basically understand both your own job and the business and like your PO's job and like all these other people, to the point where you can understand how to make the right technical decision at all times. And it is impossible for you to be in that sweet spot between making people sort of happy or sometimes happy and then making the right technical decisions without knowing this. It's impossible for you. And the responsibilities on your shoulders in order to make a working system is fairly high. And it only gets worse the better you get at this. And I can truly understand that some developers just finally give up and say, fuck it, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do the thing that feels easy, because it's way too much. It takes too much energy for me to be involved in all these meetings, all these conversations, trying to coach people, trying to say no, playing the bad guy all the time, and so forth. And it's a heavy burden to shoulder, and it's very rare that you get any appreciation for it. Have a great day.